Welcome to the Human-istic Resources Show, our inaugural show. I'm Denise O'Malley, the founder of You Define Wellness, who is the sponsor of this event. And today, we're going to be talking about from burnout to bliss, building a mindful workplace for the 21st century. I am so delighted that all of you could join us today for this inaugural show of the Human-istic Resources. And I want to explain a little bit as to how it came about. So for the past almost 7.5 years now, we've been involved in over 450 productions, from interviews to wellness fairs to summits to all kinds of different programs that are on our YouTube channel for You Define Wellness, as well as on our website. And those were really what you would think of as a wellness topic, most of them. Either having a life coach or a personal trainer, or somebody talking about nutrition or occupational wellness or environmental wellness. And we wanted to do something a little bit different with this show. Our audience, the people we really want to talk to, are those who are the people in charge of the people in the company. Because everything that has to do with the people has to do with wellness in one of the 8 dimensions that are out there. And we didn't want to bring in just the traditional topics that we've been doing in the past. We wanted to bring in some innovative topics that can inspire you, can motivate you, can give you resources, see the name up here, immediately that you can put into action, and introduce you to some what I think are some change makers out there. And so we have put together this program. It's going to air on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Tuesdays of every month. We have over 30 topics that we are going to be bringing to you. And there are things that you're not going to be expecting, from things like how to rebuild trust after a massive layoff. Gee, that's been in the headlines a lot lately. We will be talking about next week about what I think is the next crisis in the workplace, and that is the growing number of employees who are long distance caregivers for parents, or even caregivers in their own town. It's a huge, huge impact on the workplace. We're going to be talking about things like that and introducing you to resources. But we have some fantastic topics, so I hope you're going to hang with us and mark your calendar for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Tuesday at this hour to be a part of us. And you'll find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on our website over at youdefinewellness.com. Today, we're going to start with a topic that I think that is really important, and that is taking people, including yourself, from burnout to bliss, and creating a mindful workplace for the 21st century. And the person who I felt was the best to talk about this is somebody who has been in the human resources field for a while. And I met her a couple of months ago and was so impressed with her philosophies and she's been in the HR department in a major corporation that I won't name at this time, implementing some of these ideas and helping coach other companies to implement them as well. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Valerie Smith. So Valerie is an accomplished professional with a wealth of experience in public speaking, leadership, human resources, design thinking, and a lifelong learning. She is particularly passionate about the future of work and has become a respected subject matter expert in this area. Through her extensive research and knowledge of upward trends, she helps individuals and businesses stay ahead of the curve, equipping them with the insights they need to become more marketable in a rapidly changing world. What sets her apart is her commitment to personal growth and development. She takes pride in cultivating her strengths and finds great fulfillment in leading and mentoring others. And as a go-to person for the latest in leadership knowledge, Valerie is a trusted resource for individuals and organizations alike. And ultimately, Valerie is a change agent. So Valerie, thank you very much for joining me today.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
I know you have a presentation that we'll get to in a couple minutes, but I wanted to chat with you for a few minutes ahead of time.
Okay.
So I'm really curious as to what started this passion to be helping others with mindful workplaces.
Yeah, it all started in 2016. I was going to see one of my nutritionists, and we was just talking about how we react to certain things. And me, I was just a reactor. And she said, I really think that if you really want to get to the bottom of things, of losing weight or just being in that place of peace, she said you need to be in the present moment. You need to practice mindfulness. And I never knew about mindfulness in the beginning, but as I'm looking into mindfulness, it makes you feel a little bit on the calmer end, how you look at problems instead of being the reactor. And then it also, where we know that self-care is everything, you start to understand that a little bit better because you have to take care of yourself first before you take care of others. And that was my issue. I was taking care of others. I did not know how to say no. And mindfulness teaches you how to say that word, no. So I was your yes girl. So, but mindfulness really was the place to be.
Mindfulness teaches you how to say no.
Oh, yes, it does. It teaches you because you're present now
Yeah.
and you understanding that you're more centered with yourself and you're looking at the big picture. Like, is this within my timeline, my time frame? Can I do this? And it's no. And mindfulness teaches you how to be present with yourself.
So I'm curious about something. You came from a very large corporation and have worked with some other large corporations. A lot of people feel that the larger you are, the more stagnant you are in many ways. Is it really something that can be implemented for any size company?
Any size company, it doesn't matter. I was told that if you go into a large company, you'll be lost. You won't. Mindfulness is for everyone. It can be personal, for independently for yourself, or you can incorporate this in a corporation. And I think at this time, with all the uncertainty that's happening, the stress, a lot of workers are very burnt out right now. I mean, some of them have a smile on their face, but inside they are torn up. So mindfulness, it's leadership and in their individual contributors. This is something that they can use in their workplace, as individuality.
That's awesome. I don't want to take any more away from your presentation. So I'm going to move to the green room and I'm going to give you the entire stage. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say.
All right, great. Well, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Today we are living in a time of uncertainty, a lot of burnout, a lot of layoffs, and when it comes to layoffs, sometimes you're taking on more responsibility. And so today you're going to learn 3 principles on how to utilize mindfulness in the workplace and how you can go from burnout to bliss. So let me go ahead and share my presentation with you. Let me see here. Let's see. Hold on. So can I ask you a question, Denise?
You bet.
So when it comes down to the presentation here, can they see this right now or?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on for a
Okay. I
moment.
just added you. There you go.
Oh, here we go. All right, I see it now. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm gonna share this first slide here. Has anyone ever seen any leaders or your own coworkers that look like this? And that is stress. Burnout is stress. A lot of people are doing more with less. And we all have experienced something like this. It doesn't even have to be a layoff. It could be that the company is cutting costs. They're not backfilling any roles. And sometimes it can be hard to juggle your own personal life with your work life. And that's where work-life balance comes in. And you hear a lot of employees who are complaining that there's not enough work-life balance. And right now, this is happening. So I want to share with you, according to workforce.com, it states that 57% of employees are experiencing burnout because the workload is unbearable. Or maybe they have a manager that's a micromanager, or they're just not understanding and they're not communicating just to the point of understanding their employee. And then according to Forbes, it states that 43% of middle managers are experiencing burnout as well. And we're going to learn about why this is happening. And the reason why this is happening is because of these certain things. These are stress points. You got business and employee performance. And then with the business performance, we always want to know how we're doing as a company. And if they're not doing good as a company, that's where, they have to communicate change in the workplace. And then the workload, it gets heavier and heavier. And then the employees are not feeling valued in some cases. Not saying all companies are not valuing their employees, but you hear it a lot on different social media platforms. And then, of course, the layoffs. The layoffs is constantly. If you're on LinkedIn, you're seeing another company laying off and another company laying off. And you're wondering, how are these companies are going to be functioning without the talent that they're going to need? And maybe it's going to backfire later. They're going to actually need them because of the stress and the workload. And so Forbes has stated that mindfulness and meditation are making waves in the corporate world. And it couldn't come at a better time. Because with mindfulness, as I said earlier, it helps you to stay centered within yourself, within your team, especially if you're a leader and you are establishing mindfulness and you're sharing this with your team. Guess what? Your team is going to follow you. And then you're going to incorporate those practices where it could just spread throughout the corporation. And so we're going to talk about a little bit more about what is mindfulness. According to mindful.org, mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. See, this is the issue within the workplace. We know that costs have to be made. Sometimes at a point where it could be frustration coming out of a meeting, and then it trickles down to your individual contributors when you go into meetings with them. Sometimes we have to take a break a little bit about what's going on within the company to be in the present moment and not to react to all the other things that's going on in the world. Because you still have to have a workplace that's engaging, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. So there are 3 principles on how to build a mindful workplace. So these are the 3 principles: self-awareness, to pause, to let go, and acknowledgement. Because this month is Mental Health Month. So this is a great time to talk about mindfulness in the workplace, because there are certain factors where a lot of our employees, our leaders, are dealing with their mental health. So let's start with self-awareness. Take a pause. I know that some of you probably have well-being programs. Take advantage of it. If you don't know if you have any well-being programs, go to your benefits team. The previous position I had in the previous company I was with, I utilized everything. I sure did. I mean, I even within my insurance, they had a lot of well-being programs. So reaction. Life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. So that's what mindfulness is all about. How are you reacting to certain issues in your workplace? Is it affecting your productivity or your relationships with your counterpart, which is your team? And then you want to have self-reflection. Now, that could be within yourself or within your team. Your team can set up a self-reflection maybe once a week to see how everything is going as an individual or as a team. And then also self-care. I cannot tell you that, many times I have talked to many of my coworkers or friends how important self-care is to take care of yourself first. When you're putting other people before you and then you forget about yourself, then that's an issue. And I always stress to leaders that you have to, lead your team in understanding the importance of self-care, to take care of themselves, go to the doctor, have your appointments, or take a mind break, or go to a spa, take a PTO. If you're one of those workers who never take a PTO and everybody's taking the PTO and they're going on a weekend trip, you need to put some time on your schedule and have some self-care moments for yourself, because this is where burnout is coming at. It's because you're not taking enough time for yourself. And if you're a leader, you're not saying anything to your team to take that time for themselves. Everything is work, 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 and everything cannot be work, because you will not get the results that you need in your team. So the next thing I want to share is some mindfulness tools that you can use. And I'm pretty sure some of you have heard of these apps. You got Headspace and you have Calm. Download these apps. Some of them, if you never used them before, they have a free trial. And then after the trial is over, you can either, you can purchase the actual subscription and then pay monthly or yearly. But these are two great apps. They're kind of like similar. They do have some, like, for instance, you have John Legend, who was like a spokesperson for Headspace. And I'm pretty sure he is. And then Kevin Hart is on there as well. And then Calm is about the same. They have a lot of other stars that will be featured, but they do almost the same thing, where you can be a little bit on the side of mindfulness, or if you want some music to sleep to, or you just want that moment that you want to meditate at lunchtime. This is something that you can incorporate in your workplace. And if you have a benefits team and you want to incorporate that where everyone has either the Headspace app or the Calm app, and your company wants to pay into this, that's something that you can talk with HR about. Now, the principle number 2 is let go. This is where we talk about collaboration and creativity. There are a lot of times where people are burned out is because they're doing too much. A lot of our leaders are under a lot of pressure. Sometimes they feel like they have to do a lot of things. But sometimes it's good if you can just utilize your team, let go of the control, allow your team to grow by delegating. I had to learn very long time ago. I'm in Toastmasters. I'm taking on this VP of education. It's a lot of work. But I found out that people really want to help. And so I delegated a lot of the responsibilities and tasks with my team. And guess what? Things got done. The pressure is off of me. I could see results, and they feel good that they had a hand in it. So as leaders, you really want to let go of the control, bring in more collaboration within your team, and be a little bit on the creative side and allow your team to flourish, to feel like they belong within the team. And that's where you're going to have employee engagement. So engagement, you hear it everywhere in the news. Your job descriptions, where they're looking for employee engagement managers, or it could be employee experience. This is an experience. When you let go and you trust your team to do the job, it's going to bring a lot of energy. It's going to make you more present. And then you'll have more time to go to your meetings, share ideas with other leaders, and then you bring that back to the team. So remember that principle, write it down, let go, collaboration and creativity. It brings out the best in your team. And then principle number 3 is acknowledgement. And this is where you have diversity, equity, inclusion. So employees always love to belong. But if you are setting up your company full of fear and future layoffs and cuts, if you keep saying that over and over and over again, guess what? They don't know where they belong in your company. And this is where diversity, equity, inclusion comes in at. How do we make our employees feel like they belong somewhere where they can help the company flourish? And all these talented people that you have, it can be all generations working together, not worrying about all the cost cutting and everything. Leave that for the senior leadership. And then we have our diversity, equity, inclusion team setting up all these events for our employees so they can feel like they belong, and then they can help the company to flourish, a lot of productivity. And then we want to acknowledge. When you stop acknowledging your employees and you're promoting more fear in your corporation, then you're going to see a lot of retention. A lot of employees are going to leave. They're quitting. They call it silent quitting, or they call it, I'm tired of being here because I'm not being acknowledged. I don't feel like I belong. The only thing that my corporation is doing is promoting fear. And now people don't know if their employees don't know if they're going to have a job or not. So it's important that you incorporate mindfulness in this space. If you have a diversity, equity, inclusion department, have them talk about mindfulness, how to incorporate, because today it's not just one generation of individuals working in your corporation. You have 5, and it's going to be 6 soon. But my thing is that we need employees happy in the workplace. We need them to feel a sense of belonging. And they need that acknowledgement to know that they are doing a great job, that they are putting something into the company, and they feel like, wow, I did this. And the productivity is going up and up and up. And now your company don't have to worry about costs, because why? Your customers can feel your employees. If your employees are happy, you have happy customers. So once you start applying mindfulness, and this is a very important principle, that's why I'm talking about this a little bit longer, because principle 3 is going to help you with your retention. You want to keep your great employees. You want to make sure that you keep your knowledge workers working for your company. That's the only way you're going to flourish, is by acknowledging them and praising them and making them feel like they belong. Now, I want to talk about this company, mindful.org. Mindful magazine is amazing. They talk about mindfulness. This is a place where if you want to find someone in your area that's a mindful coach, or maybe you want to be a mindful coach, but it's a great resource on how to incorporate mindfulness within your personal life as well within the workplace. So if you're online, check them out. It's mindful.org. You'll learn a lot. I know I did when I started mindfulness in 2016, and I'm still growing. And I just want to let you know that mindfulness is not an overnight success. It's something that you have to practice daily. Are you going to react? There are times you will react. But however, if you will take the time to incorporate this practice, you'll feel more whole, you'll feel more peace within. When people try to get on your nerves, you'll say, And that's something that you never did because you were so reactive. Now you want to be the person where you can just say, I'm listening. I'm understanding their feelings, and you're not being a part of their feelings. They just want to be heard. If someone is nagging at you, just say, why do you feel this way? And then all they want to do is have your ears to hear. And sometimes we think we take it personal, but don't take it personal. Utilize mindfulness and everything will be okay. Now, I want to point out 3 people who also practice mindfulness. We have Jeff Weiner, who's the former LinkedIn CEO, and then we have Oprah, who is a media mogul, and then we also have Russell Simmons, who is an entrepreneur. All of them practice mindfulness. They incorporate it in their business because they understand the importance of creativity. They understand the importance of peace within their teams, and then also peace within themselves. I mean, because I bet you probably wonder, how do Oprah get through the day? And she has so many projects to do because she understands the importance of self-care. She understands the importance of being centered. And then if she's going to be centered, she wants her whole team to be centered. Same thing with Russell Simmons, same thing with Jeff Weiner. And then we want the best for your organization to incorporate these practices and these principles because our corporations have to understand that without employees, without being centered, you can't be productive. You can't make money or profits for your corporation if you're not engaging within your employees and you're not setting the tone. Remember, the employees are looking up to you because you're the leaders, but also employees, you also have to be mindful too about your personal space and your mind and your mental state, because it's important that you don't burn out when you're working. Take responsibility. Even though we're looking up to our leaders to help us, you also have to be accountable for your own self-care. So here's a call to action for you. I want you to take a pause, recognize when you're feeling burned out, and take care of yourself and ask for help. That's one thing that we don't do, is ask for help. You can call a family member, a friend, a coworker, go to HR, whatever is going on, ask for help. Let go. Be present with your team members. Everybody needs to be present. Listen to one another. Be creative. Be collaborative. It's very important. And then acknowledge. Acknowledgement brings positivity into the workplace during uncertainty. Uncertainty is going to be there. But however, you have to be positive at all times, because productivity will only go up. But if it's negative and fear, it's going to go down. You're going to have more retention. You're going to have a lot of unhappy people from the leadership and on down. Remember what John C. Maxwell said: everything rises and falls on leadership. But however, if I will say that that is true. But however, employees have accountability also for their actions as well, to being more mindful, being more centered, and at peace with themselves when they're at work. But put these practices in place, because mindfulness is a great practice to grow our employees and leaders in the workplace.
All righty. I'm going to go ahead and take your slides down. You have given us exactly what I had asked for, and that was resources that people can use immediately and put into practice. So thank you very much for that. We have another resource for everyone. We've got to pay for these events. So we've got a little bit of a very short commercial from another resource out there. And here we go. All right, and we are back. So let me give everybody the lay of the land. We've got a lot of people over on LinkedIn and Facebook who are watching this with us live. After the break, we always will be doing, and for this is our inaugural show, that's why I'm saying it the way I'm saying it. We will have time to actually ask your questions and get on-the-spot coaching with our guest experts. So what we're going to be doing now is we will be ending this broadcast on the live on the social media platforms that we are on. You can see down below. Take a screenshot of this. Come join us over at this link. And we will be there hanging out and answering questions of those who are in our live studio audience right now. But we thank you for joining us for our inaugural show. I, of course, thank Valerie Smith. Don't go anywhere. You're with me for this next section, girl.
Oh, yes.
But we thank you for joining us. Check out all of our upcoming episodes. Follow us over on LinkedIn and Facebook, and you'll find out about them. You will find You Define Wellness over there, and that's where you're going to find the episodes for the Human-istic Resources Show. And we thank you all for being with us today. Your comments have been fantastic. I have not been able to put all of them up. I apologize about that. But we appreciate every single one of you that has joined us and has commented, and we hope to see you in our live studio audience. And with that being said, we're going to end the live portion now.